Hi, I'm Peter Rouse from nzfitness.tv. I'm here with Michelle Owen, and we're at the Posture Fit Studio in Auckland Central. We're going to be going through the studio here, having a look at what Michelle does here, as well as talking a little bit about her philosophy and how they actually generate business as well, part of that whole talk of philosophy. I've known Michelle now for some 20 years. We're kind of going back a while, kind of giving away our age here a little bit. And I can really testify to the work she's been doing. It's been fantastic work. So this is why this is our first episode. I chose to use Michelle for our very first episode because of the great work she's been doing. Okay, I'm here with Michelle. We're at the entrance of her studio here, Posture Fit Studio in Auckland. And we're going to do a little bit of a tour and we're going to have a walk around. So let's come on in. So Michelle, what's the basic philosophy of the whole studio that you're doing here? Because obviously when you walk in here, it doesn't look like your hardcore gym, which is appropriate for your clientele too. So what is the basis of your philosophy?
Well, I suppose with my studio I like to have space, and I use functional equipment, so I don't use lots of machines. What I'm working with mainly corporate athlete type of people, and so we want to be able to correct their function and utilize their stability in their body, so I don't need a lot of gear, but I do like to have space.
And that's something you definitely do have here. Okay, so we'll have a walk around the gym and have a look what gear you have here. So we're coming over here. So let's start with the power rack here first of all. So what's the story behind the power rack?
Oh, well, actually, I got the power rack off you. So where did it come from? From the United States?
Well, we had it in the US, in one of our facilities there.
Cool. So this is a really solid power rack, and it's really great for my work. So I use a lot of deadlifts and squats and compound movements like that. So it's awesome also to be able to stack up all the weights and it's just really solid, and so I love it.
So I guess this is kind of a basis of a lot of your training, because a lot of your training is based around free weights.
That's right.
So you can use that for a lot of different exercises, and even you've got your chin-up bar and everything.
Got the chin-up bar, and we do all sorts of lower ab exercises and things on here. So so we use this a lot, don't we, Jane? Yeah.
Obviously, Jane's been on it all morning, so she's been hogging the weights.
She's a rack hog.
At least she's not doing curls in the rack.
That's right.
So here's something people may not be so familiar with from overseas, but New Zealand, it's quite a well-known brand, as well as the actual piece of equipment itself, which is the functional tripod. Tell me a little bit more about this.
Yeah, so this was originally designed by CHEK, and so because we train the slings of the body, so the posterior sling, anterior sling, lateral sling, so it allows us to really utilize the sling patterns, and so the free movement of the cables, we can do many exercises on here that really utilize all of that. Okay,
so you're using it for your strength work as well as a lot of your integration work. Core training, all that kind of philosophy. Anything else you kind of use it for? Okay, you've got the chin-up bar, obviously.
Got the chin-up bar, but mainly it's cable work. All the pulleys of the pushes, the pulls.
And you got your homemade TRX.
Yeah, I like the TRX there. So I like. Well, this is a little bit different than the TRX being the one strap. This is like a double strap. Which I quite like the feeling of that.
You can get a little more versatility and range of motion. Okay. And of course, on the machine, which is a little bit different to most cable crosses, is you've got the double stack here on one side and single stack on the other side. What's the kind of benefit of having that?
Well, it just gives you, benefit of being able to do pulls from various directions, and then this is a lighter stack, so if people haven't got, the strength for the base here, then they can move over here, and so it's, just ability to chop and change.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Now, we're getting all the dumbbells out of the way here. So, with your dumbbell stack, you've kind of a wide selection here. I see they're all kind of universal, but you've got the 1 to 10 kilo, I guess, and 1 kilo increments. And then here with the standard stack, you go up to 35 kilos.
Yep.
Okay, so most of the work you're doing with dumbbells, is that kind of like your basic free weight exercise? Are you doing anything different with those as well?
Well, I suppose for me, it's like I've been doing, you know, the CHEK work for a long time. So once again, we focus a lot on the slings rather than just instead of just maybe base compound stuff. So a lot of unilateral stuff.
So kind of away from the traditional bodybuilding, powerlifting, strength training type training exercises, go into what, you know, people regard to as functional exercises, which we saw before, Jane was doing here before. So like doing your 3-point rows and stuff like that, using the ball and stuff. So
and I still do use the compound stuff, and so I might use that first, building a base, so more solid base before, you know, slings or taking it a bit more unstable.
And we can talk about that a bit more when we have a sit down and talk about your philosophy, which is the main part here. And something we don't see many gyms here is the Go board.
The little Go
What do you use that
board.
for?
It's just a bit of a play tool, really, for people who, you know, like to play with stability. So yeah,
I guess it'd be good for skateboarders, I assume.
Skateboarders, surfers, things like that to play on.
Snow sports.
Yeah, that's right. And so yeah, it's just a play tool.
Do you use it much?
No.
Okay. And then of course we got your traditional cardio bike, spinning bike.
The spin bike.
What do you use that for mainly?
I like
Interval
the
training?
spin bike, just interval training, and also just warming up a little bit on the cold mornings, and a bit of cardio.
But you don't have a lot of cardio gear here, so what do you do for cardio per se?
Well, I mean, I encourage people to go out and do cardio. Quite often people that are coming to me, they've got their own cardio. They might be cyclists, they might be tennis, they might be all sorts of different sports. So I'm basically working with their foundation.
And they get a lot of cardio in their sport, so they don't.
Yeah, they get lots of cardio in their sport. They might do specific cardio for their sport. So I'm more just building their solid foundation, you know, so to prevent injury.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you see the weather's great for today, so people are probably outside doing their exercise today.
And also with the weight training, you know, just chopping up the reps, etc., to make it more cardio for the things that suit. So we do things like
more
that.
like circuit type based training and to introduce some cardio component in there.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And of course you've got the Swiss balls over there too, which is kind of a classic, you know, full CHEK style training. And the medicine balls you're working with, which of course could be used in with the metabolic. But I see you got the ropes there as well. So you use those ropes much, or
a little bit? Most people coming through here, they've got pain, they're sore.
Well, that's your specialty, isn't it?
And so that's right, that's my niche. And so, you know, so certain people, like, you know, Jane's been training for years, so, you know, certain people will get up to those levels, but certainly not what most people are coming in the door to do.
Yeah. So with your clientele, you'd say most of them are kind of either in a recovery, rehab, and or prevention phase of training mostly. Yeah,
that's right, Yeah, they seek me out for, you know, they might be any athlete, or they're not high-performing athletes necessarily, but they're just athletic. They love their golf or their sport or whatever, and so they keep getting reoccurring injuries. You know, the back that's just constant. They've tried everything, so you know, but no one's kind of fixing that underlying, because they're just going to the norm, the chiro or the osteo or whatever, and no one combining anything. And so then they find me for that particular reason. So they're here for specific purpose. Some get to that level, some don't.
So with the studio here, how long have you been here in this location?
So I've been here 6.5 years. So
that's a fairly good time stretch in one location.
Yeah, it's a good little spot. It's very central, sunny, as you can see, light, high ceilings, plenty of space. We've got good parking, so you know, so it's a nice little pad. Yeah.
Okay, so when you first opened here, what did you have? When you first opened, did you have much the same equipment or similar
I
equipment?
actually didn't have much equipment at all. I was going to go in with a friend who had equipment, and then she wanted to have a baby. So then we'd been looking for quite some time. Then she decided she wanted to have a baby. So I actually just used her equipment to come in, and then she come and worked here for a time, and she had a baby.
Okay.
And then, over time, then I added
Just
my
build up.
equipment, and then she has now gone into her own place. Yeah.
Okay. So it kind of worked out well.
It worked out perfectly. Yeah.
And then, so you built up your equipment over time. And
Over time, I certainly didn't have any, big funds to get into the place. I was just, but somehow, just by setting the goal, I'd had enough of, being in the commercial gyms with the noise, and just the work that I was teaching requires, lots of talking and educating, and people want quiet.
yes, I noticed that, and this is something we had in our facility in Santa Monica, was no music. It was kind of a baseline, easier to communicate with the clients.
That's right. You don't want to be yelling over, especially when you're talking all day. Sometimes, if I'm talking 8-9 hours a day, talking over music is tough. But sometimes I will have, like if Jane's here, or people that know what they're doing, I'll put background music on, but just, not loud,
TikTok blasting out.
Screaming over. But definitely with new people, I just want quiet, and so it makes it much easier to teach.
So with your clientele, what's your main source of clientele that you're getting in here?
Do you mean the style of people?
Or both the style and how you're generating them.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so the style of people is kind of corporate athletes. So they can afford it, right? They're at an age where they have enough understanding that they want to, be good in their future.
Invest in themselves.
Invest in themselves, be good in their future, not have pain, not be, worrying about whether they can bend over and things like this. So they're ready to invest in themselves. They've usually done a lot of homework, and so they're really ready when they come to do this work, and which is important with this type of work, because they've got to put in the time and investment.
Yeah.
And so where I get the clients, so I've been around for a long time. I've done a lot of writing for magazines. I've done a lot of speaking over time. I've networked with a lot of people. I get a lot of word of mouth from my clients, from chiropractors, from business groups, from people finding my website looking for CHEK practitioners, or looking for things like ELDOA or myofascial stretching, specific things, or postural correction. So all of those type of things they're looking for. And so then somehow...
So your leads on, let's kind of break it down a little bit more for the business side. Your leads mainly coming from referrals, I guess would be a bigger percentage-wise. How about with search engine?
Search engine, I have a guy that works on my search engine, so I get a little bit from that. But I also get loads from my Facebook marketing. So,
Facebook marketing.
like example, one of my clients wrote a beautiful testimonial recent, and then I put a little bit of money on that. On Facebook, and so I got 5 new clients from that, because they can relate to the testimonial.
What kind of money did you spend on the Facebook advertising? That tends to be $100 for 5 new clients. That's nothing.
It's nothing.
People spend thousands just to get one client.
Yeah. So it's a very my client that did the testimonial, and actually a girl that I know, she kind of interviewed him like this, and then it got written up that is exact his words, but and then I put the $100 on the business Facebook, and it's had probably, I don't know, 20 shares, 130 likes, and just people relate to it, tagging their friends in with the similar problems.
And I guess you were targeting the specific market, Auckland, and probably more.
Yeah, so I use the similar stats that I work with. So between 30 and 60, Central Auckland, people interested in particular sports. So that's the niching down of the Facebook, right? But that's been very helpful.
And that's good.
Yeah.
That's good to see that's working here
Yeah.
in New Zealand as well.
Yeah,
Because that is
right.
huge in the US
Yeah.
market. So. Okay, so why don't we go down, we'll sit down and we'll kind of talk about philosophy and other aspects and see where we go. Okay, so we've got the massage room. You've got two of these here that you have, massage therapists and specialists kind of coming in and doing your work here. So these are part of what you're working with your clientele, or you this is a separate part of the business that you're doing?
Well, the guys are contractors, so I have, also specialists in their work, but they run their own business, but we do network a lot. So most of my clients, while I'm working with them, they will have other work. They'll have soft tissue work, they might have joint adjustment, whatever they need alongside the work that they're doing, because they're ready to get better. They're not dabbling anymore, right? So they want to get better. So Jason in here does structural integration, which is really powerful, opening up the fascial chains, so really works great alongside the work that I do. And then Kerry, or in the other room, he also does a type of fascial unwinding, so he works more, how he describes it, more from internal, so like unwinding tissue, like off the lung, getting organs unstuck. So they work very different but very complementary, and a lot of my clients might see one week and one another week, alongside seeing me. And I work also with Patrick down at Mount Eden Chiropractic. We work a lot together. They send me a lot of work, I send him a lot of work, so that all works really nicely.
I guess it's good having one facility too, so your clients are in the same place.
That's right, yeah, instead of sending out to lots of umbrellas. So that's part of my kind of business model as well, just having highly skilled practitioners, and I'm always looking for highly skilled practitioners to work from here.
So that's marketing for you, trying to get some more practitioners.
That's right.
Okay, great. So let's start with where you started in the industry. So kind of give us a story about your background and how you got into the fitness industry itself.
Okay, well, it was a long time ago, I think I was probably 17, starting aerobics, teaching aerobics, going to aerobic classes, thought that was the bees and E's, and I used to teach probably 10 classes a week in those days, and then gym instructor, then personal trainer, and then I was a personal trainer for 15 years, and that's where I met you also in Auckland City, and and just learning along the way, etc. And so I'd had accidents in my youth, horse riding, motorbike. I was a rough tumble kid growing up. I had my mum had 7 boys and then me, and so I was rough tumbling growing up, and so I'd had a couple of nasty motorbike accidents, and not that I even knew that they related at the time, but then the more that I trained, then the more that I heard. I had a really unstable shoulder and hip and knee, and so over that time I'd be going to the physio, going to the chiropractor, all of these things, but nothing would ever get better, so I'd go back to training, it would be just the same, and I really didn't know what was going on back in those days, and it was quite upsetting. I was a competitive bodybuilder, so I was training 5-6 days a week, getting ready for contests, and I was always and they weren't bad injuries, they were just uncomfortable, and so anyway, then I met Paul CHEK, that's 20 years ago, and so I started doing the CHEK courses, which are, there's 2 different pathways in the CHEK program, so holistic lifestyle coach and the clinical exercise. So I've done both pathways, so I've been a little bit of an extremist in the course department, flying around the world and doing courses all over the world, just sort of building my knowledge and understanding. So the CHEK program was a big component of that, and so that the base of that is doing a postural and orthopedic assessment, and so measuring up the body, finding the muscle imbalances, and doing the correction for those. And of course the CHEK program goes into many different things, but I chose that as my kind of niche, just the correction side. And so through that correction side also I've done lots of other things like the myofascial stretching, the ELDOA following the Giboye work, which I find very, very powerful. And so I've integrated lots of different things into my philosophy, I suppose.
Just building on that foundation.
That's right.
Anything else you've done on top of that?
I've done lots of different courses. Mark Buckley's FMA stuff. I've done gosh, I'm thinking of all the names of them now.
A lot of correspondence stuff too, I guess. Being in New
loads
Zealand.
of correspondence stuff. All the CHEK starters are correspondence. The neuromuscular stuff. I've done all of that on video.
Neuromuscular therapy.
Neuromuscular therapy.
Yeah.
What's the other guy called? I've forgotten the other guy's name. We'll edit that.
Eric Dalton.
Eric Dalton's stuff on video.
MAT, muscle alignment technique.
All of that. So watch lots of stuff. Been around all different courses, and just sort of build my knowledge base over time, and
Okay, so with that whole big knowledge base that you've kind of been creating over time, you've really focused on a niche market, which is that corrective exercise market. How do you find that market here in Auckland and New Zealand here? It's a small country, small population. Do you find that you're, we know you're busy enough, but are you finding that that market is limiting you in any way, or limiting you in any way?
The limit is the market itself is huge, and really I need help because I'm too busy. And so I need to grow that side of the business, So the limiting and doing one-on-one work is, of course, you're capped for time, So.
Well, that's the thing is with your type of work you're doing. A lot of people, especially in the US, this is a big thing, is the kind of small group, semi-private training. Which is not really something you can do with the type of work you're doing because it's so kind of individualised, hands-on with the client.
Although I do it as well, so I have the myofascial stretch classes and ELDOA spinal decompression classes. So all of my clients can come to those classes because it's the base of where they start the work. So
do you find that's just more like an add-on for them, working one-on-one with you and then using that as a supplemental program?
They use it as supplemental, but also some people who can't afford me one-on-one can do that and still get great work and great results. So
that's the ELDOA you're doing?
ELDOA, so the spinal decompression, that's Giboye's work.
So you're doing that multiple times a week, once a week?
4 times a week I do classes, and so I do just a spread range, so like a Monday 5:30, 6 a.m. Wednesday, Thursday lunchtime, and Saturday morning 8 a.m. So it gives kind of everyone a little bit of a chance to get to a class. And the main base of my work is like the postural and orthopaedic assessment. That takes me about 90 minutes, measuring up, doing the length tension assessment, finding out what's going on with people, all of that, looking at their movement. So then that's the base of what I'm going to prioritise to teach them. But then I also always start with the myofascial stretching, decompressions, then stability, then functional movement. So
definitely around that whole CHEK philosophy.
Not just CHEK, but the Giboye stuff as well. I use a lot of that work now.
And where do you see yourself going in the future too with what you're doing? Do you see anything else? You said you need more help, so obviously you need to train someone up to be able to replicate what you're doing, which is one of the hardest things. But what else is kind of the future plans for here?
So probably like building on the classes and maybe some group training with clients that are in the know, they know what to do, and so they enjoy working together, that type of thing. Workshops, more people working here on the floor.
When you say workshops, you're talking for the public?
For the public, definitely for the public. That's more my market.
And you're using that as a marketing tool as well to kind of generate new leads, correct? Generating
new leads, and also tapping into just people that can't afford me, so because like this type of work, it does, as it takes investment, so not all people can do, a one-on-one type of work, but I do have a very affluent market. That's where I chose to be in the you know, in that marketing type platform, but you know, like tapping into, you know, families or people that just want health knowledge, or, you know, that could can't afford me one-on-one, or they might be able to come to a weekend afternoon workshop, things like that, where they live out of town, they can't get to classes, you know, things like that. So different, just tapping into different markets, but yeah, big picture, training people up, you know, and kind of my style. Of course, they'll have to have the qualifications of, you know, the particular styles that I teach, and then being able to bring them into, you know, work. And so because I love the marketing side, I'd love to do more of that as I bring new people in to be able to teach the work and things like that. So, you know, over 5 years or whatever, that I'm doing less work and having more people do other work.
And that's what, you know, you can't be working 60 hours a week kind of servicing.
Exactly,
so
yeah.
To help that. And we've talked about this before
Yeah.
too, a little bit how to kind of set those systems up, and I guess it's building that system where you can bring people in, and of course I guess it helps if they've had a CHEK background too, or some kind of basics.
That's right, they've got to have that basics, like you know, like or some of the GBA work or both, because otherwise it's like, I mean, that's a huge, you know, so the people that I'm marketing to, you know, they've got to have that base to be able to come into, you know,
They kind of
teach.
gives you a very limited, I guess,
It does,
pool to choose
yeah.
from.
But that's also, you know, that's why you're a specialist in the work, because you are niching in a particular thing, right? So otherwise, I mean, there's examples, there might be 100 trainers down at Les Mills. I mean, why do people come here to this little studio where there isn't even any street face, right?
Okay, so let's go back to the marketing that we were discussing out there in the gym there a little bit more, and you're talking about Facebook and referral base. So, and you're obviously interested in the marketing side, as you just said. So, you know, looking at that side of the business, I've been looking around in New Zealand here, and since being back, I've only been back 6 months, and it seems like I'd say the majority of the marketplace isn't up to scratch on that area of you know, marketing. There's very few people doing what you're doing as far as marketing is concerned, even the Facebook type stuff I see up on Facebook all the time. So I'm just wondering, you know, where did you get your information for marketing for starters?
Well, when I was in the gyms in early days, like, you know, and it used to be a struggle to get the clients, right? And so, you know, I just over time, I used to think, who could I get to market me, right? And then there was, of course, there's no one that you can get, because they can you know, trying to get them to understand what you do, all of these type of things. Plus, it costs lots and lots of money, and so I just thought, well, I'm going to get good at marketing, and so then I just, I'm very, I listen to a lot of audiobooks, so I just chose audiobooks on marketing, Facebook marketing. Went and did a little course on Facebook marketing, and you know, I just studied it basically and just played. And so then just over time, I play. Time is a limiting factor for me, as you know. So you know, like, because at the moment I've got to work too many hours. So then, but I see a little 5 or 10 minute opportunity, and just, you know, I can write something up and put a picture with it and put it out. And
so it's kind of like balancing too, because you've got so much work on with your clientele, it's taking up so much of your time, but you need the time to build your business as well. And then also, as you say, bring more good trainers in underneath you to kind of establish that too. Where do you find, I guess with the online marketing, it's all around the social platforms. Is it Facebook? What else are you using?
Mainly I use Facebook. I think, you know, it's, well, a time thing to be good at them all, right? So my Facebook is connected with my Twitter, so then, like, if I put something on my Facebook, it just goes to the Twitter, but really I don't know that much about Twitter or how to do it, and so I don't really touch that. I just mainly focus on the Facebook, a little bit of LinkedIn, but I find Facebook much better for my...
and you've got a few videos up on YouTube too.
They would be old.
Yeah, older ones.
I haven't done that for a while. That's something
we'll work on getting a few more of those.
That's something that I need to do, and so I haven't, and it's all the time, you know.
What about Facebook videos? Do you do any short Facebook videos?
I haven't done that at all, but because, you know, it's like having other people, you know, all of that, like to help you with that type of thing. So I haven't done much of the video stuff.
You've done pretty well with just the marketing you've been doing on that. Which is
that's right, yeah, and you know, it really people love the stories. That's what I find, you know, with the marketing, that people love the personal story. You know,
that's what
they relate. They can read. They can see that person's, you know, done the work. They can understand that is no magic wand, right? And I make people really aware of that when they come to do this type of work as well. It's like, no, it's not a magic wand. They've got to work hard, right? And they've got to be disciplined, and they've got to, you know, do what it takes, but they get the rewards. And so, like anything, right? And but, you know, quite often people think, oh, you know, they're going to have do a little stretch program and they're going to be better. They've got to, you know, work over time. Yeah, and
so I guess with the type of marketing you're doing, then. Kind of people coming in are pre-qualified to the extent
exactly
know what's in store.
They're so pre-qualified, like they have read, and generally they've been through a lot of things that person has written about, like, you know, the person, they've been to the chiropractor, they've been to the physio, the osteo, the acupuncture, they've been to the surgeon, you know, so they've been told they need surgery, all these things, you know, and so they're absolute pre-qualified, you know,
much
where
for you
when you just bump into someone out, oh, what do you do? Right, you're absolutely building from scratch. The awareness is low, so yeah, I find it really powerful marketing.
And I guess it's kind of almost up there with a referral, because a referral is often pre-qualified
too, yeah.
So that kind of narrows a lot of time down. You don't have to waste a lot of time trying to sell your services. Yeah. If anything, you know, maybe you're trying to fit all the time in. So.
That's right, yeah. And a lot of people that come through that angle, like, I mean, I had a guy come the other day, and quite often I'll do like a little free mini assessment for them. So I just show them a little bit of their imbalances, talk them through it, talk them through the process so that they're really in the know, right? So that there's no, you know, I'm not trying to hide anything, I'm laying it on the line of the work. I tell them the price. I said, do you want to know the price? He says, not really.
So we're just talking about the Facebook and other kind of social medias that you are using, mostly Facebook, obviously, with the time frame that you have. When you first started doing the kind of marketing online, what did you start out on Facebook, or?
Yeah, I think I started out on Facebook. Someone had set me up on a personal Facebook years ago, and you know, so I played around with that, and then of course, you know, we've all got those now, and then you know, just dabbling, just starting to play, and just like I said, learning about it through audio, listening to audio books, and just playing around. I'm certainly no expert, but when you can, you know, put out a testimonial like that, put a little bit of money on it, $100 on it, and off it goes, and you get all those shares, etc. Then it's very powerful, and I've got 5 great clients from that, and so that's like, you know, it's like being able to put out a fishing net, you know, instead of a fishing line.
Yeah.
Anytime that you need, you know, because clients are always. No, I have some very long-term clients, but in the industry you have to keep bringing in, right? So
you do get that, you know, short-term, medium-term, and then long-term turnover.
Absolutely, yeah, and so, you know, you have some people that will do a 10 session because that's all their money, all they can afford, or I have other people like Jane, who's been my client for 20 years, and if she's in town, she comes twice a week. You know, she's done that for 20 years, and so I have some very long-term, really loyal clients who are awesome, and then, you know, others that are medium, like you say, others that you see for 10 sessions and never see again, others that can only afford to come to classes, and so a real mixture of people.
Okay, so besides the Facebook marketing, have you got any future plans to kind of expand on that? I mean, you've got your website. Let's talk about your website for a moment, then come back to the other marketing. So your website itself, I know you went through a bit of a phase change on that last year before.
A few years back, like I'm really ready to upskill my website and freshen that up. It's that's.
Do you find much leads from that?
Yes,
I guess it's a landing site.
It's a landing site, but also I find a lot of people who are looking specifically for posture correction or CHEK or specific things. They land on the site, and they're also quite pre-qualified. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean they're not quite as pre-qualified as some of the marketing you've done, but definitely does help to kind of the fact that they're searching you out rather than just doing a kind of a broad marketing plan.
Yeah.
So then coming back to your marketing side, any other plans you have for marketing other than the Facebook and your personal page, your website?
My daughter's just been showing me how to use the Instagram, so I might.
Excellent.
Yeah, I might have a little go at that as well, and so it's. I quite
Watch
like.
Out for you on Instagram. Do you know your Instagram?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Well, no, actually, she set it up. It's Posture Fit.
Okay, Posture Fit.
Yeah, but I really haven't done a lot on that
But
yet.
people can go and check it out, and then by the time this gets up online, hopefully you've got 5 more photos up there and videos.
Yeah, that's right.
This will be up in a week. You got a week. Okay, so now coming back to your kind of background with education, I mean, we've done about the marketing. I know you're really into all your CHEK stuff that you did. You think that's a good basis for a lot of people coming into the industry to start with?
Well, it depends where they want to go. I mean, the industry is so big, right? And so, it just really depends where you want to go. But it's great base. It's very broad and holistic, as well as specific. So I mean, with CHEK practitioners, are specialising in all sorts of things. So they might be specialising in gut health or. Running or endurance sports, all sorts of things. So my specialty within the CHEK of, the corrective or the structural health or postural correction type thing, that's, not all CHEK practitioners do that niche. So it's quite broad and it's a great foundation.
Yeah, and then as you were saying, it's all about specialization is where you're going to generate your best business anyway, because of the fact that you can charge more, and also you pre-qualify the market that you're dealing with. So by specializing, you do create that kind of niche for yourself, and obviously for what you're doing is big enough in New Zealand to cope with that. I mean, I think if working with, in the past we've worked a lot with the Hollywood actors type stuff, but I don't think that's going to be a big market in New Zealand.
That's right.
We get it every so often, but it's not going to be a huge market. So it's about finding the market in your area that is suitable for what you're doing. So then coming back to other education you've done the ELDOA. We were just in London actually a couple of weeks ago, and we actually went and saw someone there. His name was Peter as well. Tell us a bit more about that and your background with that.
I first found Guy Boyer online many years ago and started following the work and learning what I could before it kind of more came out to this side of the world.
How long ago was this?
So that's probably maybe 6 years or so ago, and then we were very lucky to have Stephanie McCusker come out to this side of the world. She teaches the Guy Boyer program, and so Stephanie was here for some time, and I learned some really great stuff off her, and so I've been to Australia quite a few times now, doing different modules of the SOMA program. So the SOMA program is Guy Boyer's. He has a SOMA therapy and the SOMA program, which is one is more for therapists, one is more for exercise. And
so they have two different programs.
Different programs.
Is that mostly in Australia that they teach in that?
No, all over the world.
But I mean, in this area,
globe. Not much happening here in New Zealand. So I think Steph did teach a few classes here, a few courses here for the level 1 ELDOA, and then, but mainly they're based in Sydney. So because it's just the population thing, and so we did last year the qualification over there for myofascial stretching and all the ELDOAs, and so we're now it was then ELDOA 1, ELDOA 2. Now I think it goes from ELDOA 1 to ELDOA 6. So, which is the same. It's the same thing. It's just been broken down differently because we did a big long stint, which was massive, and so it's been broken now into much smaller components, which is easier for learning. Trickier when you're travelling. Trickier because you've got to go away a lot more for smaller components rather than one big.
Because you've got travel, you've got accommodation, and
all of that.
Involved with it. What do you find, do you think the type of trainer would be interested in this? Is it something more targeted? Do you think everybody should be learning this, or should it be more towards the corrective or performance?
I think anyone training should be working with the fascial tissue, because the distortion of the fascial tissue pulling the body around, it's just such powerful work. So it's kind of like pulling on all ends of a towel to take out all the crinkles. So very, very helpful for correcting the imbalance in people's body, and so there's many components of it. That's just the myofascial stuff.
Okay, so we're in your assessment room right now. So kind of go through what you do for assessment. You were talking about that earlier a little bit, so let's go through that.
Yeah, so of course first I just have an interview with the person, talk about their background, what's going on for them, find out what they've done before, so just gathering information really. And then I have a good look at them, and so basically they just either have boxes or bra and knickers, whatever, and I put them on my plumb line, and so then I look at all 4 corners on the plumb line, just kind of gathering some information.
So talking about this machine here, I know we're kind of it's in backwards right now, but I guess you have them standing on this platform, and the advantage here is you can actually turn this around. I know you can't see this on the camera, but you can turn the person around while they're standing in the same position, which is going to give you a huge advantage.
I do get them off. I get them off and then turn it, and then they step back on. So
but then you've got the feet position here, so they can make sure they get in the same place again when you do the different views. So you're taking the view from the front, side, and posterior.
Yeah, and that shows quite a lot. Like when you put them on the plumb line, and then you can see all sorts of distortions and twists and turns, and it's not the be all end all. It just starts gathering information basically.
Do you use photos for that too?
Yeah, I take a photo with that just for my own record, and
And then you can see the before and after progression.
That's right.
Posture. Okay, then once you've gone through the posture, the interview posture, then what else are you going to go through?
And then I use my little tools, so I measure up the spinal curves with my little tools. Measure up the pelvic angles, the head position. Then I do a series of length tension assessments. So measure.
But coming back before we kind of jump forward, you got the CHEK inclinometer here, of course, which I use as well. So
that's for rib angle and also pelvic angle. So and then the little compasses are great just to be able to see, the curvature in the thoracic, whether it's too much curvature, too flat, all of those type of things. And then this is for the forward head posture, just to see how how far forward the head sits. So once again, they're all just tools, and then we can measure up the angles, see how where the hamstring's too long, too short,
so
all of those type of things.
You're doing passive range of motion. Do you do active range of motion?
So I look at, I'll do all of this, and then I'll look at their patterns, look at them squat, look at them walk, move.
Based on the primal patterns.
Depends on where that person's at. Quite often if they're in a lot of pain, I won't do too much movement with them, but I can get a good base of what's going on. Where I'm going to start them, as they get better, I can do more movement with them.
Of course, you've got to really customise the assessment for the individual, because sometimes they can't move. They come in. I've had many times where patients come in a wheelchair basically. So you've got to kind of do what you can. So once you've gone through the assessment process, including maybe some kind of movement assessment as well, Then where do you go from there?
Yeah, so then I write up what I'm going to teach them. So then it gives me a bit of a base. So then I'll start by leveling out the pelvis with myofascial stretching. So then they learn what they need, the main components. Excuse me. The main components of what they need to learn, whether it's opening up hip flexors, adductors, glutes, whatever. From the assessment, so start to correct that imbalance, and so then I video that for them so that they can start working at home. On that, once they've kind of got that down pat, then I start teaching them inner unit stability, whatever is needed, shoulder girdle stability, decompressions, whatever I've decided from the assessment
Process itself.
So the high priorities, and then of course as they grow into more functional strength, and I use the compound movements to start really getting them better, the squats, lifts, pushes, pulls, all of that base.
Do you find the assessment process too also helps with sometimes selling the person on what you're doing, because it kind of shows them what's going on in their body as well as shows them that you know what you're doing?
Generally, I find by the time they're doing an assessment, they've had a lot of information. I've met with them, I've talked with them. So
like you're saying, pre-qualify them anyway.
Generally, they're pretty much ready, because they're paying a lot for an assessment, so they're not just kind of deciding along the way.
Okay, so you're charging obviously for the assessment, which is kind of, I found in the industry, some gyms you go to, they'll do a free assessment, which is very minimal. How do you kind of compare that to doing the charge for the assessment compared to doing the free assessment? You did mention before you sometimes do like a quick 5-10 minute assessment. Is that kind of more like your free model? And then if they want the full thing, which is 90 minutes, you're saying at least, you're charging for that. How do you find people open to being charged for assessment when a lot of people in the industry are not charging for that?
Assessment is a key component of this work, so that's how I gather my information. So the assessment more is for me to see what I'm going to teach them. So from like I said before, I'm happy to do a mini assessment for people, which is really just me showing them their imbalances, but more them being able to question, talk through the process, and know that they're ready to be booked for a proper assessment. So when people are going to come for a proper assessment, they know the price, they know the commitment of the work, so they've already decided. But I'm always happy to talk to people 15-20 minutes. That's what I call my free mini assessment. So that's how I class.
There's a big difference between your generalization and your visualization. So
that's right. So by the time people are committing to a big proper assessment and they're paying the price, then they're committed to the program.
Okay, excellent.